Witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Sun and Its Shade.
Yeah.
Listen,
Um,
counting down on my left hand was not a good idea.
yeah. It's okay. We got this.
That's how I felt. So, I thought it started off at 4, and it started off at 5, so I had to quickly fix it, and then by the time I fixed it, it was at 4, and we were done. So, okay.
It's
Anyways, The Sun and Its Shade, we left off at chapter 30.
Yeah, so um starting with chapter 30, first of all, I love a Gadriel's point of view.
I was kind of taken aback by it. We're so used to having two very specific point of views that when we started off chapter 30 with Gadriel's point of view, I was like, oh, what are we talking about?
I think I liked it mainly because I think Amaris right now, and I don't know if it's the way that she's written this book. I don't know if it's just my personal preferences, but she's just annoying.
Yeah.
So switching to his point of view and seeing her through his point of view makes her a little less annoying. Ironically. Although she's still dense as fuck. Like, I can't. I only wrote one other thing about this chapter, and it was literally on the last page of the chapter.
Mine was on the very first page. So in this, I find out later on, all of this is just kind of fucked up. I don't know. It just gets more confusing the more I read the chapters. So he said that she smells like juniper. All right, book, stop flipping through. Oh, where is it? Oh, he wondered if anyone had ever told her that she smelled distinctly of juniper. It was the smell that reminded him of winters in the forest beyond Gwydir. It smelled like home, and I was like, oh, if she smells like juniper, it reminds him of home. She's from the north. Like, she's got to be from the north. Regardless of who her parentage is, like, if she's the lost princess, if she's, like, the lost prince reimagined as a princess, like, whatever the fuck kind of thing is happening, she's from the north. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's what I was saying. But then, I have something on 340.
That's where my next comment is too. So basically this whole chapter, they like finish their night's travel and Amaris like immediately goes to sleep. And mine is literally the last sentence.
I was like, Gadriel's giving Zaid Meadows vibe.
A bit.
But it's weird. It's not like attractive.
No, it's
like Gadriel's attractive until these moments.
Yeah.
He's attractive. He's Daddy Gad. He's great. He's wonderful. He's a general. He is that kind of person that you are like, oh, he is he's not submissive. He's dominant. He is that kind of man. And then these moments you're like, oh, he's a little unhinged. He's a little insane. He is more unhinged than Zaid Meadows. And Zaid Meadows is way unhinged for any sane person.
Well, and like Zaid Meadows is doing it for sexual gratification and things like that. But there's like, I mean, we know why he's doing it, but it's still really creepy.
Like, why are you just staring at her? And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna go and stand over her, and I'm prepared to strangle her because this is how you get your powers.
Yeah, so that's what I wrote. I was like, oh, and the training begins. Like,
I was like, strangling. Very Zaid Meadows of you. Ooh, very unhinged.
Yeah,
very weird. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was definitely definitely uncomfortable. And that's how the chapter ends. It's just with him being creepy and then starting to strangle her.
Like, all right, on to the next, chapter 31.
Yeah. And so, like, Amaris is panicking. Understandably, she's asleep and she starts to be strangled. So, like,
Yeah,
understandably,
like your breath is gone, your air is, your pathway is completely cut off.
Yeah.
You're bruised.
So she's fucking panicking. And then, as is the point of this exercise, she, like, throws her hands to the ground and a sonic boom happens, which throws him away. And he is so excited. He's like, that was amazing. This is so awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck?
You are unhinged. Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, and she's like, he just
Like
tried to
any
kill
sane
me.
person.
Like, she's freaking out still. And it's like, hello. She still, at this point, does not realize that that was a training exercise. Even though he told her what to expect, she's still like, you tried to kill me. Ah. Like,
and here's the thing, though. She grew up not realizing all of that. He grew up knowing this is the kind of training.
I mean,
So, like,
yes.
I see it, but I also see that he's like, okay, this is a lot. Are you sure you want this? Like, this is
Yeah.
how my training is. I got thrown off a cliff. Like, I was prepared to die. So, like, she had, like, a snippet of what it could have been. So, like, I was
But she
prepared to be
didn't
tortured.
get it together. She didn't put it together until he says, hey, at least I didn't push you off a cliff. And
Yeah.
then she's finally like, this was a test? This was a training exercise? Like, yes, dumbass. No, he was just strangling you for fun. Like,
I think she has a little bit of a fear from when the true Agimni had
yeah.
whispered the lies or whatever into her ear about what could be, like, what he could do to her, like the killing, the whatever. And I also think that because of her upbringing and how she was told to hide away because of her value in her pearl skin, that fight or flight is very, very much so flight.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still.
I was just still super irritated with her. Like, hello. And then he immediately starts taking care of you. Like, I don't know. She's not that dumb. And I don't understand why all of a sudden she's just really dumb. And it annoys me. Maybe she has been dumb the whole time and I just haven't noticed.
No,
Because
she's
maybe
very dumb.
Nox is the brains and Amaris is the brawn.
Nox
but
is the fighter. And I think Amaris saw the opportunity to be the fighter, to be the brawn, to be the person that didn't need somebody to fight for her, and she took that opportunity, but she still fights with that insecurity
yeah.
of what once was.
Yeah. I only have one more thing for this chapter again. And again, it's in the last paragraph of the last page on page 352.
Same. Oh, mine's on like 349, but it's kind of in the it's kind of linked. It's kind of there. So on 349, she's like laying there, she's getting ready to go back to sleep. And she's kind of talking about how she wants him to, like, put his hands on her throat again. And I was like, girl, you got a choke fetish.
I can't with her.
But then on the very end of this, like, chapter, he's just like looking her up and down, kind of like, you're so much more than that.
Yeah, you're so much more than someone I fought with and obeyed. Like, duh, first of all, duh, Amaris. Duh.
I was like, like friends? Like friends. like friends or like friends with benefits. Like choke me again, daddy. Dad. Like like that kind of friends with benefits. The world wants to know. Please, Gad, please let us know. What kind of friends are we talking about? Or what kind of so much more are we talking about?
I can't even. I don't care which kind of more, but I feel like she should have known that he at the very least cared about her somewhat. Like, he wouldn't be doing all
Yeah.
of this and for you if he didn't somewhat care. Even if he
Yeah.
is trying to use you. Like, just shut up, Amaris.
I don't like the pairing though. I don't
I
like
don't
their
either.
pairing.
I don't, there's no,
It's
in
very
my
weird.
head, there's no chemistry there. It's awkward. I don't like any kind of sexual relationship between them. It makes me cringy.
Doesn't matter if she's like, and I kind of want him to do it again.
No. No. I don't like it.
It was like weird in the first book when we read about Ash and her like making out, like about to go all the way, and it's like, ugh.
Ugh.
Like there was no chemistry there either.
No. No, there's not.
There was none. Sorry, bud. There was none.
No.
Hmm.
And then that's the end of chapter 31. These chapters kind of flew.
These one-liners.
Yeah. Yeah. So chapter 32 is a Nox chapter. And Nox in this chapter just has one bad idea after another.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one is she's using the enchanted pen or whatever to ask someone for their opinion. She wants someone's opinion on what she should do, but she doesn't want to ask Asher Malik. She doesn't want to ask the Duke. She wants to ask like an unbiased third party.
Yeah.
So she's using this enchanted pen, which I was thinking when she first pulled it out, I was like, this is a bad idea. I was like, because think about the people that, what was her name? Millicent?
Yeah.
Millicent was like in contact with. She was in contact with the gray matron or whatever her name was. She was in contact with the Duke. She was in contact with the fuckface that Nox killed. Like, she's in contact with all these crazy bad people. So why would you not assume that one of those people has the other pen? But Nox doesn't, and she's like, I want to discuss something.
To be honest, I never considered the gray matron, to be the other person. Like, never.
Hadn't guessed that. I was surprised.
Considered everybody else. I was like, there's a new person. There's a new baddie coming. Yeah. I was like, what if it's Millicent herself? What if it's the queen?
I did think that. I did think, what if it's Millicent herself? And then I was like, what if it's the guy who brought Amaris to the Farley?
Yeah. Well, mainly because I never thought it was the matron, because the matron was like, I used to do that, but I'm not that anymore. Like, I don't do that anymore, kind of thing.
Once she asked for her name, I was like, it's someone who knows her. So then I started to put it together. But when Nox said, I found men's primary use to be their money, I was like, oh, okay, I think this is gonna be a man. Like, but
yeah,
Nox was right. It is a woman. But then when she asks for her name, I was like, oh, this is a very bad idea, Nox. Like, do not.
Yeah.
Do not.
This was the, like, make it or break it of the situation.
Yeah. And then she goes and plays with her axe for a little bit, and she comes back to see she still doesn't have a note, right? Yeah, no. But she overhears Ash and Malik talking, and they're almost kind of arguing. And then Ash leaves the room, and Malik says, I'd like to talk to you. And I was just like, oh. Uh-oh.
I know.
Uh-oh.
Okay, maybe it's like some type of like deep hidden trauma that I never like just like bothered to deal with, of like a male saying we need to talk. But I was like, I don't want to,
Yeah, like,
I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. I like started like panicking, like, oh my god, they're gonna stop, they're gonna kick her out. Like, that's it. This is the end. She's got to go on her own. She's got to do her own thing. Now we're gonna have like 3 separate stories. Okay, they're gonna find out she's a succubus, and then now they're gonna take her to the next location, but now they're gonna think she's a demon. All these things.
yeah. None of that happens.
No.
Because chapter 32 ends, and then chapter 33 goes right into this conversation. And he basically is apologizing to her because he likes her, but he never told her. And he likes her more than is appropriate. But one thing that I was confused about.
This whole thing was confusing.
Well, so can she, first of all, I love this whole like awkward flirting between both of them. That I like. But then on page 370, like she's thinking about how she can't have sex with him because she can't control her power. But like I thought she could. Like I thought that she did it sometimes at the Selkie without taking too much. Like without, no?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I just made that up in my head then. But I was super confused.
Like, there would be times that if she, so I think what you were implying was that you could either take it all the way and end up just dead, like the first guy, and that's when they found out about her power, or you could be like the shell of a person, like the Duke.
Like the Duke. I guess I just assumed that she could control it completely, but no.
I mean, I think she could control it to the point where she could like
To that, like not kill, but like not
yeah.
leave them the same person.
Yeah.
I bet she can learn.
Yeah. I like, with anything you can learn, but obviously
Yeah, you don't want to test it out on someone you actually care about, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do like on page 371, she's talking about because he's like, but you care for Amaris, like you love her, and he's like not understanding that like he cares for her, she cares for Amaris, and she's like, but why can't I care for both of you?
Right.
And he's like not understanding that, and it's not like in a judgmental kind of way that like we see nowadays when like somebody confesses that they like both people, or like 2 separate genders, I guess. It's something of confusion. Like it's not that it's like frowned upon, it's just like, I guess, uncommon. And she's like, why do we need to understand everything? Because he's like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why. And she's like, truth be told, I don't believe in dichotomies. I know that the world is very comfortably split into one thing or the other. I think that some of the best things belong in the gray. And I'm like, that is the best description of like being bi that I think I've ever read.
Yeah.
Like, not that she is bi. I mean, maybe she cares for Malik, and maybe this is like the tide that turns her into like seeing men and not just like a terrible light.
Yeah.
Or maybe like, I know there's some people, like I knew some people back in college where they were strictly straight, but there's like this one person that like, I'm straight, but I'll be gay for that one person because that is my like, that's my gay person. Like, that's who I'm gay for, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't understand it. I feel like that makes you bi, but
I don't
some
understand it
people
either,
do
but
the thing that they do. But I mean, maybe that's her thing. I don't know.
maybe
We don't know. But
we don't.
I do like the, why do we have to make everything black and white? Why can't we like live in the gray? Why do we have to understand everything?
Yeah.
I do appreciate that idea because the world isn't black and white. The world is very gray.
Well, and I
Very,
think that
very
almost
different.
kind of went into a like description of polyamory as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't have to just love one person.
Yeah, she did start implying that as well.
Yeah. But then she basically, so they start like making out. And she has to start making herself picture like kitchen sinks, scrub buckets,
Mundane
horses,
items.
clouds, vegetables. Like, I was cracking up about that. So she doesn't continue and basically drain him.
And it's funny too because she quite literally says, "You would not survive a night with me."
Yeah.
And it's not like she's saying like she's that great in bed. She is, and she adds to it, and I do mean that literally. And everyone's like, "Oh, it don't matter," which is kind of what he did. But
Yeah.
also, I'm wondering too if part of it has anything to do with the fact that she is a succubus. If like maybe the allure of her brought him in, and then like he just like saw her personality.
Yeah.
But the I don't care part of him was definitely the succubus allure.
Yeah. Um uh
This is just like a very sad moment for her too.
it was. And I don't know. The whole thing was weird. And then on 379, he's like, what should I tell Ash? And she says, tell him that I appreciate him looking out for me and that he's a good friend to Amaris, but that life is complicated and it's none of his damn business. And then she goes and takes care of her stuff.
Takes care of herself
Yes.
because she cannot hurt Malik in the way she knows that will happen.
Yeah.
But it's so sad because like she doesn't know if she can control this or not. As far as she knows, this is her life, and the reason why she chooses, you know, being with girls is because of what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like that's really sad. The fact that she's like starting to see the good in men, or at least the good in this guy, and the good that he can be, and that he truly likes her for her and not wanting her for whatever reason, and she can't even do anything about it because of what the curse that she has, basically.
Yep.
So
So that's the end of chapter 33. And into chapter 34, we're back in Knox's room. She had taken a nap after, all that. And she is getting dressed and doing her hair and all of that. And then the piece of paper starts writing, basically. There's writing on there. And it's the person asking, like, have you made your decision about your pursuit of knowledge? And she asks, what do you know of the princess? And the person says, which princess? And I was like, oh, shit.
I was like, which princess? Which one? And here's the thing though, like she didn't like the person who was like talking to her didn't outright answer.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are you?
Right?
You started the conversation. Why are you not answering right away? So then at this point, I was like, are you just like a spelled object? Just like,
Spouting random bullshit.
yeah, like not knowing about the stuff like out in real life, or you just kind of like chat GBT, like hoping for the best. Um, and then I was like, oh, are you the queen? And are you like, where the fuck is this bitch? Like, I'm going after her kind of thing. Like, oh shit. But I was like, wait, you brought things up. Like, why aren't you finishing what you started? What the hell? Like, who are you? I was getting really pissed off. But then when she was like, witch princess? What do you mean witch princess? Because I'm talking about Princess Nux. Or Amaris, I guess.
Yeah, and then she says both, which was a really smart way to get more information. Um, but they
Also, what do you mean both?
right.
You should have been like, what do you mean? Can you
Yeah.
please elaborate?
But because she says both, they're like, "Oh, you know then." And she's like, "Tell me everything." And they say, "I'll grant your answers where your journey began."
And that's when it hit me. It's the fucking Gray Matron. And I was like,
Yeah.
the black quill that she had in her study. Of course. Of course Knox knew about that.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
So then the next morning, or not the next morning, that day she goes and knocks on the guy's doors and she's like, "We have to leave in the morning." And they're like, "Oh, are we ready to go back to Ovaid?" And she's like, "No, we're heading north to Farley." The end of that chapter.
We're going to the mill.
Back
We're
to
going to the
the
mill.
orphanage. And then chapter 35
Which is the last chapter
of this
of part
episode.
2.
And of part 2, yeah.
Yeah. I just would like to say that the only thing I wrote about this entire chapter was what the fuck, because the entire thing, really, I felt like I needed to be on shrooms to understand what the fuck was happening. Like, I needed to take a bite of that apple with her.
Yeah, this chapter was really fucking confusing. So
Like,
I wrote 2 things before that, before I wrote
it
what the
was
fuck,
like,
because I also wrote what the fuck.
it was like, I felt like I was reading the fucking Bible with Virgin Mary over here.
Oh my god.
In the Blessed All Mother's blessing. Like, I had no idea what the fuck was happening. I was confused. But
So
go ahead
yeah,
with your
I was very
conversation, or
confused
with
too.
your
First, I was
comments.
proud of Nox because she brings Malik in her room before she takes the bite, and she's like, "I'm gonna take another bite of the apple." And he's like, then on page 387, he's like, "Can I just say one more time for the record that this is a bad idea?" And I was like, "You can say it, but she's still gonna do it." And then she says, "Does it help if I tell you I feel safe with you?" And he's like, and then the rest of the chapter, the only thing I could write was, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Because she's the tree again, and there's like a bunch of random women there, and then the priestess that she like held while she died when the thing was on fire, um, is having a baby.
The Tarkany priestess, who is black, basically.
Like ebony
Very
skin,
dark.
like
Yeah. Very dark skin. Gives birth.
they call her the Onyx Priestess. Like that's how dark she is. They call her the Onyx Priestess.
Yeah, she gives birth to a pearl essence baby.
Yeah. They call the baby a bundle of snow. Like,
Amaris.
and then they say the All Mother made Daphne's final prayer flesh, and it is the goddess who will guide it. So because they're like, should we tell her like what she is? What do we do? And they're like, nope. And then that's the end of part 2. And what the fuck?
It's just weird because it's like, okay, so Daphne shows up on the temple's doorstep dying with a dead child. And then all of the sudden, they're having a thing, a prayer, and the light isn't like taking in the child, I think. I don't know, I hope, I don't know. And then the next scene is a man taking a bundle of joy, probably, and then she takes down the bite, and then now it's a priestess having birth, and it's probably the bundle of joy that the priestess gave birth to.
Yeah, so confusing.
That was stolen. That was
Like,
taken
what
to
the fuck?
parlay. But like, what?
What just happened?
Excuse me.
Yeah. So that was a wild ride.
And that was, yeah.
And next time we'll be diving into part 3, which was called
Everything You've Ever Wanted.
Yeah. Everything You've Ever Wanted. Part 3.
And
we're coming to a close on this on this book. Like, we're getting there.
Yeah. So this is the last part 3 is the last part of this book.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it will be Zakai's story.
Yes.
And that's it. So, ooh, what a short chapter. Don't ever, ever take for granted these short chapters, because you'll probably never get it again.
Right?
All right. Until next time.
Bye.